Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Drigo, and this is the part 2 of this video right here, which is part 1. Don't forget to go back there and watch part 1 to understand a little bit of the context and how we're going to get here in part 2. Part 2 is going to start right now. Let's get straight into that. I hope you like it. Another thing that was one of the fears that I had was fear of finding an overly saturated market, feeling that the niche that I was interested in was too crowded. In fact, there's a lot of people creating content on YouTube about YouTube. And this is like not the biggest approach here for me. For me, it's like talking to small creators. I want to hear from people that want to create YouTube channels and their challenges. So I want to talk to small creators. That's my biggest goal. But for me, the experience is there's space for everyone. True. That's a fact. But like when you think about a doctor and a kid, when a kid is coming up and she's growing up and she decides to be a doctor, don't you think like one of her thoughts is, oh my God, there are so many doctors already. Why should I be a doctor? And that happens like, and you might think, no, but doctors are necessary. Like for the amount of people in the world, we need a lot of doctors. They are essential. They are very important, which they are. I'm not saying this. The point being is, that could like be the same saying for all of the other professions. Like people be like, oh, there's a lot of like artists already. Why should I be an artist? There's a lot of like programmers already. Why should I be one? You know, same thing works for content creation. There's a lot of creators out there that will prevent you from being a creator because there's a lot of them out there already. I don't think that's the case because people are always finding ways to bring their authenticity and their persona to the game and to the topic and their experiences. And when you drive your content to your experience, around your experience, I think that's a bit hard to replicate. You can replicate the title, the idea, and the thumbnail, but you cannot replicate the person itself, right? So this is one of the things about feeling that the market is overly saturated in the niche that I wanted to do. It was one of the thoughts that I had that made me overcome a little bit of this fear. Now, one of the things I was really like, it wasn't a fear, but it was something that I had, like was imposter syndrome, which is literally like believing that I wasn't qualified. I even wrote that, believing that I was not qualified or interested enough to share ideas. And then one of the things that helped me was basically sitting down and writing about my life. And where I came from, where I live, what I do, everything I went through. And understanding and having like a different perspective of myself to understand what I could bring to the table. Now, listen, it might not look like that, but I'm a 30 years old man living in New York City, coming from a different country, speaking a different language. I have gone through so much stuff in my life that I think that could provide me with interesting topics or at least correlate what I want to talk about with those interesting topics and bring it to the table, that I could only do that after I sat down and wrote about my life and wrote everything, where I come from, what I'm doing here. And this is one of the strategies I definitely suggest for people to do in order for them to understand a little bit more of themselves, because you can only understand the value you bring to the table once you get to know yourself better. And that's the way I think I can bring a little bit of my experience to what I'm saying here, right? Another fear I had is fear of privacy loss, worrying about sharing personal information or details or being too exposed online. And in fact, putting your face here, you will be exposed, like eventually, like people get to see your face, right? But it's also a matter of what do you choose to expose. So I thought, okay, I know a lot of big creators out there that I really love, enjoy their content, but I know so little of their personal life because that's the magic of the internet. Like you can choose what you can post. You can choose what you want to talk about. You can choose on how to center your content around, like and what to center your content around. Like it could be around your personal life, about your vlogging strategy. But I don't think that's the case for people who wants to be vloggers, that they're that afraid of like being exposed because they're literally showing their lives, right? But I do know that there's like a full amount of creators out there who are afraid of being exposed and having their information leaked. that can also happen. That's something that can happen. You can find like someone. I don't think that's a general rule, and I don't see a reason why people would do that, like unless you're like really big. But if that's the thing that is preventing you from creating right now, you can find alternatives. Like, for example, there are a lot of like dark channels in which people create faceless channels. And there are many formats in which you can use YouTube to create and tell your stories. You can be like literally a compilation of B-rolls that you're not even in the videos or photos, and you're telling the story. It's just your voice. There are formats in which you can adapt to not be exposing so much your life, but yet focusing on the content you are creating. And in those ways, you're going to find alternatives of being like not so much exposed in the internet, you know? So I feel like that shouldn't be a fear because, again, you can choose what you post and you can choose the format of your content. So I don't think that you should use it as an argument like I was doing to create. I'm afraid of being exposed. I'm afraid of people like getting to know things of my life that I don't want to share. But at the same time, why would you guys want to? Like, well, but if you want to know something, I'm very open for comments and questions and inquiries down in the comments, and I will decide whether I want to talk about that or not, right? It's also a matter of decision. Now, the next thing is a little bit correlated to that, which was cyberbullying. We know how the internet is. It's not like the most pleasant place sometimes. It's very toxic, but it's also very inspiring and motivating if you're training your algorithm. And for me, fear of being targeted by trolls or abusive comments was something that was preventing me from creating more videos. And the way I came across that was much more of like understanding that, again, I'm not going to be pleasing everyone. YouTube has tools and features in place in which you can turn off this kind of comments and selected words you don't want to hear in the comments, and then prevent those words from appearing, showing it to you. But if it is just people throwing hate, I just have the sense that those people, they are projecting fears, and they are frustrated people that things they didn't work out for them, and they will find reasons and ways to attack other people that are still trying. They're still doing their best. So think about that, and always remember it's most of the time never about you. It's never about yourself. It's much more about those people itself, you know? And then monetization pressure was another thing that was preventing me from creating content for YouTube. Like the uncertainty about how to work with YouTube algorithm and how to grow my channel. Well, let's say that there's a lot of anxiety when we talk about money on YouTube and the process of getting monetized. I'm very well trained in YouTube at this point. I know things don't happen here day to night. They eventually will grow with consistency and time and content batching. And, you know, once the algorithm really understands what I'm talking about. So what I can say is don't let the monetization be the drive, because this is not the drive for me. I do want to get monetized. I would love to live from YouTube, but I know that's not the reality right now. I know that's just not what's going to happen right now, and that's totally fine. It's a process. What makes me create in this moment of my life is putting into practice things I learned. It's getting better, getting feedback, getting to know other people, getting to build a community, it's like being able to improve, right? Being improved in video editing, being improved in talking to a camera, being better at like understanding audience needs and understanding algorithm behaviors. So those are like the biggest drives for me right now to make me create videos on YouTube. It's not like the monetization, because it will build pressure. If you're just here for the money, things are not going to come day to night. This is not TikTok. You go viral and you can make money already. It could happen, but those are out standards. They are like outliers. They are not the standard. They're not like what normally happens. I cannot come to you and say like, hey, in your first video, you're going to go viral and make tons of money with YouTube. That's going to frustrate a lot of people and make them angry with me. They have to understand that they are here for the right reasons, which is not only money. And that could be like one of the goals in the future. But for now, it's just content creation. Focus on the content creation part and then worry about money later, right? Because at the point you're worrying about money, you're going to be kind of like ready to be able to deal with it, I think. That's what I expect from me. The algorithm challenges are another fear because algorithm is always changing here in YouTube. And I was always afraid of like how would that affect my content, right? And the mentality that helped me go across it was basically to understand that yes, the algorithm has changed over the past decade in YouTube, and it will continue to change over time. But at the same time, that's another chance for us to reinvent ourselves and to be creative, more creative, and to change the format we're delivering our messages and changing the format we're telling our stories. It's an opportunity for us to grow with the algorithm, and nothing in the world stay as it is. As like in the age of AI, we are learning that the world is changing daily now. So we have to keep up with that in order for us to, as human beings, be able to improve and get better too. And it doesn't matter we have to be robots or anything. We can literally find alternatives and creative ways of getting around all of those changes with our organic approach. So what I've noticed is YouTube has boosted a lot of small channels because people are betting more on content that are more low pace, they're more conversational, they're more low editing efforts, they're more like note cuts, just like straight videos. So people are already here for that, because on the opposite side, we have a lot of like dark channels, faceless channels, and this is hard for you to connect. So it's a way of using organic approach and human approach to overcome this AI domination of YouTube, And that's like my thoughts. It's just like a way for you to reinvent ourselves in every algorithm challenge that comes along the way. And I hope I'm able to also be able to reinvent myself over time with all of that. The next fear I had was fear of public speaking. Well, a little bit. Context. Back in my country, I was an English teacher. So that helped me for 3 years to improve my public speaking and learn how to deliver content and information to different audiences, because I was an English teacher for teenagers, for adults, for kids. So I basically learned how to speak with those three kind of audiences. And it was like my first struggle, like literally like in my first class, I was gagging all the time. I was like stuck in every word, in every sentence. And over time, I got so confident talking to people. And I even had like a public speaking class in the college here in New York. And that helped a lot too. I think the only thing in terms of public speaking for me is memorizing things. I know for a lot of creators, it works when they script everything outside, they write it down, and then they memorize everything they wrote, and they talk to the camera about it. That's great. I'm not like that. I have literally the topics that I wrote down here to go over them. So I at least have the topics that I want to talk about, the things that I want to discuss, and then on top of those things, I'll have a conversation for all of them and my experience in each of them. So that's how it works for me. Also, YouTube is it's a platform that you can like find ways to tell your story. So you can literally cut off the S and ums and like pauses and go straight to the word by word, until you get better and you like improve yourself in a sense of like, okay, I don't need to cut my videos anymore because I'm delivering a message in one take. And that comes with time, and that's people are not patient anymore to wait to get there. They just want overnight success. But the way for me that worked with public speaking is literally by doing it. It's like a muscle too. You have to practice. You have to talk. And you're going to get better over time. You're going to know and understand what works. But it's just by doing it. There's no other way to get better on public speaking, on talking to a camera, on having conversations with like no one that is responding to you other than like you sitting down on a chair or Go out in the world or have a friend behind the camera and have a conversation and start speaking whatever you have to say. So do it. Just do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. And as time goes by and as the experience goes over, you will eventually learn about it. So another fear was inconsistent support because I was always expecting my friends to support my YouTube channel or my family. So I thought like in every video in my other YouTube channel, I was constantly sending the videos to my family and my friends and thinking like, okay, guys, here is another video. Come on, let's watch it. Well, we already know what the problem with this is in terms of the algorithm, right? One of the hardest things for us to understand is one of the hardest lessons for me to understand was that my friends, my group of friends, they are not my audience. They are not my audience, which is totally fine. I have a very close relationship with my friends. They are literally my family here in the US, but they are not my audience. I have to understand that they have different interests than I do, and the things that connect us are apart, like are other things, which is good. It's okay. And when I understood that, I stopped. I just stopped suggesting my videos. Another thing is like if I have my mother coming and watching my videos, the algorithm is going to think that every lady on her age will like my videos, and that's not the case because I don't do content for those kind of audiences. And it was messing up with my channel. It messed up with my channel so much because until the algorithm reanalyzes, restudy your content, it will have to go through a lot of people and will need way much more content without your friends and family watching to understand the audience behavior. So that's one of the reasons why the other channel's growth is so slow. And this is another reason why I'm not telling anyone about this channel here that I'm talking to you through, because I'm literally letting the algorithm does its magic and seeing where it leads. But for now, I'm not saying that to anyone because I don't want to have those things like interfering in the, in the message in the algorithm or where it's going to lead. 19th, we're almost getting to the end, but the 19th is the competition anxiety, which is feeling intimidated by like bigger creators with high quality content. What can I say about that? I have to say, I stop saying we, but I know that you feel that the same way. But I was constantly like going on YouTube, and now in the US, they have this new wave of YouTubers, and all of the contents are like almost like cinematic. And I love it, and I'm obsessed with it. I consume that a lot. And I thought, well, I'm never going to be a good creator, because I'm not in that level yet. So because of that, I was not creating. Oh my God. Because of that, I had this huge fear of starting a YouTube channel because I thought I would never be as good as they would. Like, look at the cinematic approach. Look at those stakes. How are they doing it? I want to do the same. I love it. I'm inspired by them. I'm motivated by them, but at the same time, I'm not there in their level. How will I start a YouTube channel like that? And if you scroll down to all of those channels, you're going to notice they started at some point, somewhere, and in a way that is completely different on where they're at right now. And that's the beautiful thing about YouTube. When you're following someone, you're following someone's journey, and that's like what you want to enjoy. You want to see that person's growth. But if someone already arrives like in a high standard, high quality content, it's very unlikely we're going to relate to that person at first. Except for Life of Riza. But Life of Riza started somewhere too. She had some sort of like background with filming and editing. I love her content. She inspires me so much. I watch all of her videos and I'm just obsessed with her. But at the same time, I have to be realistic. I'm not in that level. And the only person, if I have to compare myself with, is to myself. And what helped me was to understand that, like, Drigo, you're not there yet. Start small. Start slow. Do it in your time. Do it in your way. Do it in your voice. And eventually you're going to grow. And who says that I'm not going to be able to one day work on a cinematic approach with this YouTube channel as well, right? Because again, YouTube is always changing and we're always finding ways to, repurpose our channel and reinvent ourselves. So I would say that don't compare yourself with these other people. Everyone has a different timeline. Just make sure you're comparing yourself with yourself and understanding that there's growth in your own journey, as opposed to, trying to replicate what others are doing and works for them. Lastly is the burnout fear, worrying about losing motivation or running out of ideas over time. And for me, again, YouTube is a source of ideas and platforms. For me, YouTube is the source of multiple idea formats. And in general, you can come here and learn so much from the platform and from the content in it. That's at in a certain level, you're going to be able to produce out of that too, not just consume. But you have to have a producer, like a creator's mindset, as opposed to just a consumer mindset, right? So the burnout fear is much more a fear that I had in terms of like, what if there's a point I'm just exhausted and tired of creating videos? What will I do? And in this YouTube channel, I have a different approach, as I mentioned before. I'm trying to motivate, inspiring people to create and to start and to go over fears and do the things they want to do. But if I feel like this is also becoming a toxic place for me, a toxic environment for me, I shouldn't care about numbers. I shouldn't care about views. I should only care about mental health, like my health in general. If I understand that this is somehow jeopardizing my health, that's an indication that I don't want to be doing this, right? I should be doing something else. I should be taking a break. But being burned out here means that like it's not matching the message I'm delivering, because I'm literally trying to inspire people to create and do things that they like. And if I'm here forcing myself and like, pushing myself to the edges just for the sake of creation, and I'm not happy for that, that's going to be also transparent in my videos. You're going to see that I'm exhausted and I'm not here because I want, as opposed to like now that I'm excited doing this. So I feel like this is another thing. Like, just make sure this doesn't like affect your mental health and you're doing this because you want and you're like. I've had so many fears that stopped me from creating a YouTube channel in the past. And I've found ways and alternative routes to overcome them. And those fears actually, they changed. They changed for something else. Nowadays I have different kinds of fears. My biggest fears nowadays are much more related of the fear of missing out, the fear of not trying, and the fear of not getting experience and the knowledge that I could be getting like by doing, and the fear of not improving as I work on it. So those fears now, instead of like preventing me to create, they are kind of like inspiring me to create. And those are the fears that I've been cultivating right now, that I've been like protecting. And it's weird to say that you're protecting fears, but those are good fears. Those are fears that, I don't know, guys, I'm 30 years old now, and if I had to stop creating content or like wait until I was too good to do it, I would be like, Drago, like, you're 30 years. You're going to be like, you're going to wait until you're 40. You're going to wait until you're 50, 60. You don't even know if you're going to get there. We don't even know what day is going to be like tomorrow, if there'll be a day tomorrow. So understanding that it has to be now for me. It had to be now, because now is all I had. I'm healthy now. I'm in a good mental state. I have a good family support, a good friendship group. I'm living my dream in New York City. So why not inspiring people to do the same, right? So that's why I've been doing this. And I've challenged myself to create a video a day for the next 30 days to see how things work. If you want to understand the motivations behind it, there's a video here for you to watch. And there's another video here explaining how the algorithm of YouTube is working right now. This is a completely blank YouTube channel. I don't have an Instagram for this. I'm literally investing in creating this YouTube channel apart from the other one I have. I don't want to mention about the other one. I don't want the algorithm to be messed up with the other one. I literally just want this one to do its own thing and see where it leads. So for you that stayed until here, make sure you create, make sure you evolve your fears for fears you want to protect as fears you want to avoid, as opposed to fears you want to avoid. And that's the message of this video. I hope you guys liked. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm also open for suggestions, for criticisms, for feedback on improvements. I would love to hear from all of that. So make sure you leave the comment down below. And a thumbs up if that was a good message for you. Okay? See you in the next video.